So, I won't be live for long. Honestly, this is more so I can collect some footage from my YouTube channel so that I can kind of show the process of animation and how I go about it. Of course, not an amazing animator or anything, but I've got some skills I'd like to share. I'm just going to be showing a bit of my compositing process. So what I'm going to do here is what I go into new composition. I like to do it double the size, but today I'm going to actually no, that's fine. I can still do it double the size. What I'm going to do now is actually I'm going to import the file that I want to edit. There we go. Slap this in there. And you see this is just an animation with like absolutely I pressed caps by accident. Yeah, there we go. It's animation with no background. And you might be wondering, how are you gonna work with no background? Well, it's because I've already made backgrounds beforehand. What I do, it's a little bit of cheating. I essentially get the backgrounds from my previous animation. Say I take comp 3 here, right? Slap that into here, and by throwing in my After Effects file from beforehand, it gives me access to all of the files that were in here, even the previous composition. Some of these comps aren't like final, like you see it's very blurred out, but as you can see these flowers look 3D. I don't like that. I wasn't sure of how I was going to do it beforehand, but I think now I've got the gist of what I want to do. And also, as you can see, art style shifts a bit. You've got thick lines here, and you've got thin lines here, and you'll find somewhere else there are thicker lines. This prologue is really just going to be a proof of concept. I do plan to stay consistent with one style, but I need to see what works and what people prefer. But yeah, so what I do is that I take something like, see these leaves? I'm not even going to lie to you here. These leaves, I didn't animate these leaves. I got a video online of pink leaves. I'm actually going to show you here. Dude, I keep pressing caps lock by accident. Yeah. Let's remove all of the effects, and this was just a green screen of pink petals. Now, of course, some people might say, why are you taking assets from online instead of making your own ones? I had to conserve on time. We need to consider that this is my first animation project, and majority of the animation is being done by myself. And sure, there are other animators out there that do it themselves, but if I have a tool that I can use from online, I'm going to use that tool from online. Sure, I get it, much better to use your own assets, but I feel like I postponed Soultail for way too long. So as you can see here, we've got the color key that removes the green, the hue and saturation, changing the color, and then the Gaussian blur, of course, blurring the front. I like to do this blur effect. You could say this is my style. So you'll notice that what I like to do is that the leaves at the back are clearer than the ones in front, you know, like a lens effect. Want to make it give at least that much realism. There's not much realism since this is animation, but that's something I want to at least be there. But yeah, the leaves in the front, usually I like to keep these bigger because, you know, it makes sense. When something's closer to you, it's usually bigger, isn't it? And also what I'm doing to offset this is that I'm also putting some of these, like, I'm pushing the length or pushing this one, like, say further, so this one starts earlier, this one starts later. As you can see, they're not starting on the beginning of it. And I do this because it's all the same animation, but to make it look like they're moving separately and not moving all at the same time, I have to change up the timing, of course. If everything started at the same time, it would just be very unnatural, all the leaves moving at the same time. So that's what I do. I offset the animation. That's what we call offsetting. The main problem we have here is that the background is still very, very bland. It's just dark, a dark background, nothing much. So how do we fix this? How do we make this look more interesting? Yeah, so her right here and this one right here. This is what I use as a reference. I draw from paper, then I go onto here. I think I will start scrapping that idea now because I've got a graphics tablet. But back then, that's how I did it because it was so much more comfortable to draw in a surface that I could see. So yeah, that's what I used. So I was coming here to check this because I want to see if there was any background elements. There aren't any. So that means I just have to rely on lighting it myself. So I might ask, how do you light something? Now I could just copy the lighting from here, but instead of doing that, I will show you how I light things. In fact, let me copy this adjustment layer. This adjustment layer, what it really does, it's the Soultail vibe. How do I describe it? Essentially, it gives everything an image. Like, Soultail isn't very vibrant. I wanted it to be very, very like dimmed down, and so you notice that I might draw my characters very saturated, but I dim it down. That's just the tone of the show that I'm trying to go for. Adjustment layer here. It also keeps things consistent. If you end up figuring out that, oh, my colors aren't consistent, you can use an adjustment layer, change like the hue and saturation. It changes everything. So you want it super saturated, you want it almost no saturation, that's up to you. You figure out how you want to do that. But my one, of course, is like this. You can also add other stuff as well, but that's what I want to add. So let me show you how I made my light. Now, you could easily turn these into 3D layers and add a light layer, but the reason why I don't do this is because it's kind of finicky to move around 3D lights. So what I do instead is that I make a solid of a light color, right? So let's take this, what's like a sun light color here. Take this color, make a solid out of it, boom. Now there's this random solid that's on top of here. What do? We add a blending mode on here. Now, you might not see these blending modes immediately. I believe in order to open up these blending modes, you need to do something. There's a setting that you can go to extend these. It's not even that difficult. I forgot how to do it again. But yeah, that's how I get these blending modes. And these ones, you play around with them, you see what you like. As you can see, hard light gives me this very harsh lighting effect. Alright, so as you can see here, when this is hard light, it makes everything so much brighter. When this is a linear light, you know, it's like this. Color dodge does this. I do like using color dodge, but the reason why I don't use color dodge is because, as you can see here, it ignores the black. And I don't like that because it gets distracting. When you make this a light, it affects everything. So as you can see here, imagine if the blacks were just completely ignored here. Like, let me turn this into color dodge and show you what happens here. The blacks become more vibrant. I don't want that. I wanted everything to be so not vibrant. The blacks become more noticeable, and I don't want that. I still want this to be very faded. So I had hard light, so this black lines become faded. So as you can see here, there's this pink line around here. That thing's called a mask. And see here, what I do is that I essentially draw in the area while selecting this. By the way, if you don't select it, it will just make a shape layer, as you can see here, right? So that's not what we want. What we do want is a mask. Let's delete this shape layer. So we need to select on the layer that we're editing, and then we need to go around here in whatever shape you want. In this case, I want some sort of cone. If you feel like you don't like it, you can extend it or anything. You know, you're not limited at all when doing this. So if you feel like you want to keep it more in center, you can do that. Now you might be wondering, okay, but this looks very, very unrealistic. Why is this just a huge orange layer on top of here? Well, the reason why this is unrealistic is because, of course, there's a huge contrast here, and in order to make this blend in, what we need to do is feather meaning blurring. So we can go on here, let's see, not here, sorry, wrong one. Here, go on masks, mask feather, and increase that feather, and you can see, oh, it blends in, but it still doesn't look realistic. She is covered in the holy light, but everything else isn't being affected by that light, or everything else is, it looks like, how do I explain it? The light is too concentrated. Yes, the light is too concentrated. So what we do is we turn down the opacity. Now you can do mask opacity or normal opacity. Either of these work. And since this place isn't completely lit, I think it's okay to do it this. There we go. Good. And then you can increase or decrease the feather, up to you. There we go. As you can see here, this looks so much more realistic than what we had beforehand. Like that, you know. So this kind of works. So like, yeah, here we go. Turn up the opacity of that background. Actually, is there a way to fill color? Fill. Make this a different color, because I feel like this is, yeah. Okay, let's scrap this. Let's use a solid. Let me make a new solid. Perfect. Now we go back here take this at the back. Good stuff. And then, oh my god. Ah! My volume was so loud, I didn't. Oh my god. Where is Sans Undertale? I don't know where Sans Undertale is right now. He's hiding somewhere. We don't know where he is. Didn't mean to scare you. No problem, no problem. What's good, Afro Smash? I don't know if you remember me, but I played you twice in bracket and you beat me both times. Yeah, hope you're doing well and hope you are doing well as well, Zenfinite. Honestly, what I'm doing right now is just recording my composition process for my animation. This will eventually be a YouTube video. Since I couldn't be bothered to find recording software and edit things together, there, this is more believable than, no, it's more believable than it looked beforehand when there was like nothing. Black background, extremely bright, holy light. Now, of course, we have everything that we need. And then, of course, what I need to do is input the voice lines that come in when she talks. It's not playing any video for some reason, but when I play it here, it should have the, there we go, the mouth movements. I have synced this to the voice lines in Photoshop. But yeah, this is my short form process of my composition. I don't have much to show you, like from my previous I guess I could show you what I've done beforehand. I'll show you one or two things because I don't want to spoil too much. Bam. There we go. Oh, does it have to render the entire thing again? Okay, well, it doesn't take too long. Wow, yes, I know, right? Slideshow. Listen, it has to do that in order to render, bruv. Do you not know how this works? Alright, guys. Take care. Thank you very much for hopping through. I'll edit a video of this and I'll be live maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after. Let's see. We'll see. Until next time. See you guys. Bye-bye.